Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we dive deep into the captivating twists and turns set to unfold on Monday, May 12, 2025, in the beloved town of Port Charles. From Lulu Spencer's relentless pursuit of hidden truths to the strained dynamics between former friends Sasha and Willow, and a mysterious offer from the enigmatic Sidwell, this episode promises a whirlwind of drama, secrets, and unexpected alliances. Let's unpack the intricate layers of these storylines, exploring every nuance and predicting the potential fallout that could reshape relationships and power dynamics in the weeks to come. Lulu sets Quest for Truth, Unraveling Family Secrets. Lulu Spencer has always had a knack for uncovering buried secrets, and this week her detective skills are sharper than ever. Driven by an insatiable curiosity, she's on the verge of piecing together a puzzle that could shake the foundations of the Quatermain and Falconeri families. Her recent covert operations have already yielded shocking revelations. A daring break-in at Martin Gray's hotel room led her to a bombshell discovery, an adoption secret involving Dante, with the bombshell that he's the father of a baby boy. This wasn't a random find, it was the result of Lulu's calculated risk-taking, fueled by whispers and half-truths she's been hearing around town. But Lulu's sleuthing didn't stop there. During a heated exchange between Lois Cerullo and Dante, which she covertly overheard at a local cafe, Lulu's keen instincts kicked in. The conversation centered on Gio's possible involvement in Rocco's recent beach party debacle, a messy incident involving underage drinking and a near accident by the pier. As Lois passionately defended Gio while Dante expressed skepticism, Lulu's mind raced. She began connecting the dots, her thoughts spiraling to a startling conclusion. Could Gio actually be Brooke Lynn and Dante's son? It's a theory that, if proven true, would rewrite family histories. Now with her suspicions blazing, Lulu is set to confront Ned Quatermain, hoping to extract any sliver of information. Ned, often a keeper of Quatermain's secrets but seemingly unaware of this particular drama, might be caught off guard by Lulu's probing questions. Will his responses or lack thereof confirm her hunch, or will they send her down a different path? The stakes are higher than ever as Lulu inches closer to the truth, unaware that she's not the only one with questions. Brooke Lynn and Chase, blissfully ignorant of Lulu's investigation, are instead focusing on their own future. Their meeting with Alexis Davis hints at plans to expand their family through adoption, a decision that could be complicated by the secrets Lulu is about to unearth. Alexis, with her sharp legal mind and deep ties to Port Charles's tangled web of relationships, might offer more than just paperwork advice. She could unintentionally drop a clue that ties into Lulu's findings. Meanwhile, Tracy Quatermain finds herself blindsided by an unexpected conversation. Could it be with Lulu? Or does Tracy stumble upon a different piece of this intricate family puzzle? The tension is palpable, and every interaction in Port Charles seems poised to ignite a revelation. Sasha and Willow, a friendship fractured by betrayal. Elsewhere in Port Charles, the air is thick with animosity as former best friends Sasha Gilmore and Willow Tate find themselves at odds in a confrontation that promises to be both emotionally charged and revealing. Once inseparable, their bond has been shattered by jealousy, misunderstandings, and unspoken resentments. Their latest encounter, set against the backdrop of a bustling local diner, is anything but a friendly catch-up. Sasha can't help but cast a critical eye on Willow's controversial relationship with Drew Kane, a dynamic that has raised eyebrows across town for its questionable timing and motives. Sasha's judgment is laced with irony, though her own past harbors a scandalous secret that could rival any of Willow's missteps. Years ago, Sasha's affair with Michael Corinthos, a moment of weakness during a turbulent time, resulted in a pregnancy that she has kept under wraps. The memory of those stolen moments in a dimly lit hotel suite, fraught with passion and guilt, still haunts her. Willow, oblivious to this bombshell, has no idea of the depth of Sasha's hypocrisy. But as their heated exchange escalates, with accusations flying over cups of untouched coffee, there's a chance that the truth could slip out. Will Sasha's guilt compel her to confess, or will Willow's sharp intuition pick up on the unspoken tension and push for answers? The fallout of such a revelation could be catastrophic, not just for their fractured friendship, but for Michael's current relationships and the delicate balance of trust within the Corinthos family. This confrontation is a ticking time bomb, and every word exchanged brings them closer to an irreversible explosion. Sidwell's power play? An offer too good to refuse? On a darker, more calculating note, the mysterious Sidwell continues to weave his web of influence across Port Charles. Known for his cunning ability to form alliances and obscure his true intentions, Sidwell is a master manipulator whose every move is a calculated step toward a larger, shadowy goal. His recent partnerships with Ezra Boyle and Drew Kane have already shifted the power dynamics in town, creating uneasy alliances built on mutual benefit rather than trust. Additionally, his lucrative deal with the Ladies of Deception, a cosmetics empire with deep roots in Port Charles, has given him a foothold in the business world, further expanding his reach. Now Sidwell is preparing to make a new offer, one that could either solidify his dominance or expose a vulnerability in his carefully crafted empire. While the specifics of this proposal remain cloaked in mystery, it's clear that Sidwell's agenda is far from altruistic. Is this offer directed at a key player in Port Charles, perhaps someone with political clout or underworld connections? Or could it be a personal overture designed to exploit a weakness in one of the town's most prominent families? Speculation runs rampant. Some whisper it might involve a real estate venture tied to the docks, a hotspot for illicit dealings, while others believe Sidwell is eyeing a more personal leverage, perhaps over someone like Sonny Corinthos. Whatever the nature of this offer, it's bound to come with strings attached, and accepting it could mean aligning with a dangerous force. The residents of Port Charles would do well to tread carefully. Sidwell's charm is a mask for a ruthless ambition that could upend lives in an instant. The ripple effects of secrets and schemes. As Monday's episode looms, the interconnected lives of Port Charles residents are more tangled than ever. Lulu's relentless pursuit of truth threatens to expose long-buried secrets, potentially fracturing familial bonds and reshaping legacies. Sasha and Willow's clash is a microcosm of the town's underlying tensions, where personal betrayals mirror larger conflicts of loyalty and trust. And Sidwell's latest maneuver reminds us that power in Port Charles often comes at a steep price, with alliances forged in secrecy and ambition. The beauty of General Hospital lies in its ability to weave these individual stories into a larger tapestry of drama and intrigue. Each conversation, each glance, each whispered secret carries weight, promising consequences that will ripple through the town for weeks to come. Will Lulu's investigation bring her the answers she seeks, or will it plunge her into deeper danger? Can Sasha and Willow salvage any remnant of their friendship, or will buried truths destroy any chance of reconciliation? And what game is Sidwell truly playing, and who will be his next pawn? Next, we're diving into the dramatic whirlwind surrounding Brad Cooper's life-altering decision in the May 9, 2025 episode of General Hospital. From a roller coaster of redemption to a stunning exit, Brad's journey in Port Charles has been nothing short of chaotic. Whether he's truly gone for good or poised for a surprise return, this episode marks a pivotal moment for the character we've grown to have a complicated love-hate relationship with. Join us as we explore the intricate details of Brad's departure, the emotional ripple effects on those he left behind, and the lingering question of whether this is truly the end of his tumultuous saga in Port Charles. Brad sits rocky road, from redemption to relapse. Brad Cooper's return to Port Charles last year was heralded as a fresh start, a chance to rewrite his tarnished legacy. Once a figure of disdain for his infamous schemes, most notably his role in the baby swap scandal with Wiley, passing him off as his and Lucas Jones' son for an entire year, Brad seemed determined to turn over a new leaf. His initial efforts to rebuild trust painted him as a man haunted by past mistakes, desperate to prove his worth, especially to his ex-husband, Lucas. He took on odd jobs around town, showed up to community events with a humbled demeanor, and even volunteered at the hospital's charity drives to showcase his goodwill. For a fleeting moment, it felt like Brad might finally carve out a place as a reformed citizen of Port Charles. However, old habits die hard, and Brad's darker impulses soon resurfaced with a vengeance. The turning point came when he stumbled upon a damning piece of information. Portia Robinson, the chief of staff at General Hospital, had tampered with Heather Weber's test results to manipulate a legal outcome tied to a high-profile case. This wasn't just gossip, it was leverage, and Brad couldn't resist wielding it. With a sly grin and a calculated plan, he cornered Portia in her office late one evening, the fluorescent lights casting harsh shadows as he demanded a favor. In exchange for his silence, he coerced her into securing him a spot alongside Lucas at a prestigious medical conference in Miami, a chance to rekindle old flames under the guise of professional networking. For Brad, this was more than a trip. It was a desperate bid to win back a piece of the life he'd lost. The breaking point. A deal too dirty. Brad's manipulative streak might have given him a temporary upper hand, but it also set the stage for his ultimate downfall. Portia, unwilling to remain a pawn in his game, flipped the script with a dangerous counteroffer that pushed Brad into uncharted moral territory. During a tense confrontation in the hospital's dimly lit parking garage, Portia demanded that Brad procure ketamine, a controlled substance, with sinister implications for her to use against Drew Kane in a personal vendetta tied to a property dispute gone sour. The request was a moral gut punch. Brad hesitated, his hands trembling as he realized how deep he'd sunk. This wasn't just blackmail anymore, it was a step into a criminal abyss he wasn't sure he could crawl out of. Torn between self-preservation and disgust, Brad made a fateful choice. Instead of complying with Portia's request, he turned the tables once more, leaking the information about her plan to Drew in exchange for a substantial financial reward. The clandestine meeting took place at a seedy diner on the outskirts of town, where Brad, nervously sipping burnt coffee, handed over the intel for a briefcase stuffed with cash. This payout wasn't just money, it was his ticket out, disillusioned by the toxic cycle of deceit and betrayal that had once again consumed his life in Port Charles. Brad decided he'd had enough. The town that had once been his battlefield for redemption now felt like a suffocating cage, and he resolved to escape it once and for all. This decision wasn't made lightly. It was the culmination of sleepless nights, guilt-ridden reflections, and a longing for a clean slate far from the shadows of his past. A stylish farewell, Brad Sitt's final moments. Brad's exit from Port Charles was as theatrical as his tumultuous tenure. On the morning of May 9, 2025, he strolled into General Hospital dressed to impress in a tailored charcoal suit, the kind of sharp ensemble that turned heads in the bustling corridors. His polished appearance wasn't just a fashion statement, it was a signal of transformation, a visual cue that Brad was closing one chapter and stepping into an unknown future. Whispers followed him as he navigated the familiar halls one last time, nurses and staff exchanging curious glances about what changes he hinted at during casual conversations by the coffee station. The first stop on his farewell tour was Portia's office, where he delivered his resignation letter with a mix of defiance and relief. The exchange was brief but loaded with unspoken tension. Portia's icy stare met Brad's forced smile as he slid the envelope across her desk, a final act of severance from the hospital's web of intrigue. Next came the hardest goodbye facing Lucas. In a quiet corner of the hospital cafeteria, surrounded by the clatter of trays and the murmur of colleagues, Brad stood before his ex-husband. Despite their storied history of heartbreak and betrayal, and Lucas's blossoming relationship with Marco, a charming pediatrician new to town, there was a flicker of genuine sorrow in Lucas's eyes as Brad spoke his parting words. "I need to do this for me," Brad murmured, his voice cracking under the weight of old regrets. Lucas nodded silently, a lump in his throat as years of shared pain and fleeting joys hung between them like a heavy fog. It was a moment of closure, but also of lingering what-ifs. The end of Brucus, or a door left ajar? As Brad walked out of General Hospital, suitcase in hand and a one-way ticket to an undisclosed destination tucked in his pocket, the question on everyone's mind was whether this truly marked the end of his story in Port Charles. The saga of Brucus, the turbulent, on-again, off-again romance between Brad and Lucas, has been a cornerstone of drama for years, defined by passion, deception, and the enduring pull of unresolved love. Lucas's quiet sadness at Brad's departure, despite Marco's presence in his life, suggests that some embers of their connection still glow beneath the ashes. Could a future crisis or unexpected twist draw Brad back to the town he's sworn to leave behind? Perhaps a family emergency involving Wiley, now a spirited toddler with questions about his origins, might summon Brad's return in a moment of need. Moreover, Brad's exit doesn't erase the secrets he holds or the enemies he's made. Portia, now free of his immediate threat, might still harbor a grudge, potentially setting the stage for a vengeful plot should their paths cross again. Drew, too, owes Brad a favor for the intel on Portia's scheme. Could this debt lure Brad back into Port Charles' dangerous games? And let's not forget the mysterious allure of Brad's next destination. Rumors swirl that he's headed to a coastal town with ties to a notorious underground network, a place where a man with his cunning might find new trouble or new purpose. Wherever he lands, Brad's knack for controversy is likely to follow, leaving fans to wonder if his peace out is merely a pause in his never-ending dance with chaos. Echoes of departure. What lies ahead for Port Charles? Brad Cooper's departure reverberates beyond his personal story, sending subtle shockwaves through the interconnected lives of Port Charles residents. For Lucas, the goodbye stirs a complex mix of relief and nostalgia, prompting him to reevaluate his future with Marco while grappling with the ghosts of his past. Portia, meanwhile, must navigate the fallout of her exposed scheme, potentially facing scrutiny from hospital board members or even legal consequences if Drew chooses to weaponize the information Brad handed over. The hospital itself feels the void of Brad's presence, love him or hate him. His knack for stirring the pot added a certain unpredictable energy to the daily grind of General Hospital. As we bid farewell to Brad, at least for now, General Hospital reminds us that no exit is ever truly final in the soap opera world. Every goodbye carries the seed of a comeback, and every closed door hides the possibility of being reopened. Will Brad find the redemption he seeks in a new chapter, or will the pull of Port Charles drama reel him back into its orbit? Next, we will dive deep into the dramatic turmoil surrounding Dante Falconeri's recent clash with Giovanni Palmieri over a harrowing incident involving Rocco Falconeri's underage drinking. This unfolding storyline in Port Charles is packed with emotional tension, shocking revelations, and echoes of past family conflicts that continue to shape the lives of our beloved characters. Buckle up as we unpack the intricate layers of blame, misunderstanding, and hidden truths in this gripping saga. A father sits fear and a misplaced outburst. In the heart of Port Charles, a night of youthful rebellion turned into a near tragedy when Rocco Falconeri, Dante's teenage son, was rushed to the hospital with severe alcohol poisoning. The scene at General Hospital was one of chaos and despair, with doctors working tirelessly to stabilize the young boy whose life hung in the balance. Dante, gripped by a paralyzing fear of losing his child, stood helplessly by as memories of his own tumultuous past flooded his mind. The possibility of Rocco slipping into a coma or worse, not surviving, was a gut-wrenching reality that pushed Dante to his emotional brink. In the midst of this crisis, Dante unleashed his pent-up frustration and terror on Giovanni Palmieri, a young man who had been at the scene when the incident occurred. With harsh words and accusations flying, Dante painted Gio as the villain, blaming him for Rocco's reckless behavior and even insinuating that Gio might have supplied the alcohol. This fiery outburst, however, felt like a misstep to many onlookers at the hospital, who saw Gio's genuine concern for Rocco. Dante's reaction was less about evidence and more about the raw, unfiltered panic of a father facing the potential loss of his child. The tension in the air crackled as nurses and family members watched the confrontation unfold in the hospital corridors, whispering among themselves about Dante's uncharacteristic loss of control. Echoes of a violent past. Dante's explosive anger in the face of this crisis is hauntingly reminiscent of a dark chapter in his own life involving his father, Sonny Corinthos. Longtime viewers of General Hospital will never forget that chilling moment when Sonny, the notorious dimpled Don, confronted Dante without knowing their true connection. Back then, Dante was an undercover cop infiltrating Sonny's criminal empire, and when the truth of his mission was on the verge of exposure, Sonny didn't flinch. With a cold goodbye detective, he pulled the trigger, shooting Dante in a moment that stunned audiences. The aftermath, when Olivia Quartermaine burst into the room screaming, "You just shot your own son," remains etched in the annals of soap opera history. Sonny's bewildered expression as the gravity of his actions sank in, contrasted with Olivia's horrified disgust, created a scene of raw emotion that still resonates today. Now, years later, the parallels between that violent encounter and Dante's current rage toward Gio are striking. While Dante isn't wielding a weapon, his sharp tongue and unrelenting accusations carry a similar weight of misunderstanding and misplaced hostility. Just as Sonny was unaware that Dante was his son during their fateful clash, Dante remains in the dark about a seismic secret. Giovanni Palmieri is in fact his own firstborn son with Brooklyn Quartermaine. This hidden truth, poised to detonate like a ticking time bomb, adds a tragic layer to Dante's harsh treatment of Gio. When the revelation finally comes to light, will Dante look back on this moment with the same regret that Sonny felt all those years ago? The symmetry of these father-son dynamics is a testament to how history often repeats itself in the tangled web of Port Charles families. Unseen bonds and unspoken truths. The relationship between Dante and Gio is already complex, even without the knowledge of their biological connection. Over recent months, the two have forged a tentative camaraderie, sharing moments of laughter and mutual respect during community events and family gatherings at the Quartermaine estate. Yet, this budding bond is now under severe strain due to the fallout from Rocco's incident. The irony is palpable. Father and son, unaware of their shared blood, are caught in a cycle of conflict that mirrors the very struggles Dante once faced with Sonny. How will their relationship evolve when the truth surfaces? For now, the tension simmers beneath the surface, threatening to unravel any goodwill they've built. What's even more intriguing is the journey of trust that Dante and Sonny have traveled since their own near-fatal confrontation. Despite being on opposite sides of the law, Dante as a dedicated detective and Sonny as a mob kingpin, they've managed to cultivate an extraordinary closeness. Their bond, forged through years of forgiveness and understanding, stands as a beacon of hope in Port Charles. Could this be a foreshadowing of what lies ahead for Dante and Gio, or will the wounds of this current misunderstanding cut too deep to heal? Only time will tell, but the stakes couldn't be higher as family secrets loom large. The night that changed everything. Let's rewind to the night of the incident for a closer look at how events spiraled out of control. It all started innocently enough at a beach party where teenagers, including Rocco, gathered under the starry Port Charles sky. Danny Morgan, a friend of Rocco's with a knack for mischief, persuaded him to attend the unsanctioned event. As the night wore on, peer pressure took hold and Rocco found himself downing drinks far beyond his limit. When Danny stumbled upon Rocco, disoriented and unwell on the sandy shore, panic set in. Desperate for help, he sought out Gio, who was nearby enjoying a quiet evening walk along the pier. Gio, ever the responsible figure despite his youth, didn't hesitate to assist. Together, he and Danny half-carried, half-dragged Rocco to the nearby Quartermain boathouse, hoping a safe place to rest would be enough. They propped him up with a bucket for nausea and a bottle of water to hydrate, doing their best under the circumstances. But when Cody Bell, a local with a keen eye for trouble, stumbled upon the scene, his instincts told him something was gravely wrong. Noticing Rocco's shallow, labored breathing and ghostly pallor, Cody wasted no time. He scooped up the boy and rushed him to General Hospital, ensuring that medical professionals could intervene just in the nick of time. Doctors later confirmed that without Cody's quick thinking, the outcome could have been catastrophic. A scapegoat in the storm. Despite Gio's good intentions and limited role in the fiasco, Dante's fear-driven anger zeroed in on him as the easiest target. In a heated exchange at the hospital, Dante accused Gio of negligence and even suggested he might have encouraged Rocco's drinking. This unfair blame game left Gio stunned and hurt, especially since he had acted out of concern for Rocco's well-being. Bystanders in the waiting room couldn't help but notice the injustice of it all, with some quietly murmuring that Danny's involvement in luring Rocco to the party seemed conveniently overlooked by Dante. Was Gio simply a scapegoat for Dante's overwhelming dread about his son's condition? The situation grew even more charged when Lois Cerullo, a fierce protector of family, stepped in to defend Gio with her trademark fiery spirit. Her sharp words cut through Dante's tirade, reminding him that jumping to conclusions without facts was beneath him. Yet Dante, still reeling from the doctor's sobering update that Rocco was lucky to be alive after such severe poisoning, couldn't back down. His conversation with Lulu Spencer, Rocco's mother, only fueled his need to point fingers, as both parents grappled with guilt and helplessness in the sterile hospital hallway. The raw emotion of the moment was palpable, but Dante's refusal to see Gio's side painted him as unreasonably harsh in the eyes of many. A future fraught with regret? As the dust settles on this near-tragic event, one question looms large. How will Dante feel when he discovers that Gio, the young man he so harshly criticized, is actually his own child? The revelation of Gio's true parentage is a storm waiting to break over Port Charles, promising to reshape family dynamics in ways no one can predict. Will Dante look back on his accusations with remorse, wishing he had shown more compassion? The parallels to his own history with Sonny suggest that redemption is possible, but the path will be fraught with emotional landmines. For now, the hospital remains a battleground of secrets and misunderstandings. Rocco's recovery offers a sliver of hope amidst the chaos, but the scars of this incident, both physical and emotional, will linger. As Dante sits by his son's bedside, grappling with the fear of what could have been, viewers can't help but wonder if this crisis will ultimately bring hidden truths to light. Will it be the catalyst for Dante and Gio to uncover their connection, or will it deepen the rift between them? Stay tuned to ABC General Hospital as we watch this heart-wrenching story unfold, revealing the messy, beautiful intricacies of family in Port Charles. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the latest General Hospital drama. Keep following our channel for more spoilers, updates, and insider insights into the lives of your favorite characters.